I'm Peter Schrager, host of Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and the Season with Peter Schrager podcast. Whether you're ordering wings for the game, or you're whipping up a 7-layer dip, or you're ordering a pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizzas to buy one, get one wings to whatever it is you want, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats is the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply, and see the app for details.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Michael, I know it's part of the game and everything, but how difficult is it to establish any kind of continuity when you're constantly losing guys here and there for offense, defense, or whatnot?
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of being a special teams coordinator in this league. There's always going to be change. That's the one thing that's guaranteed. Injuries happen. Certain guys are up some games. I mean, that's across every organization. So, my job is obviously to prepare guys, when their opportunity does arise to be able to execute in those situations, when their number does get called. The fact of the matter is, because there is so much change, there's an element of making certain guys understand the fundamentals it takes to be able to execute when their opportunity does come. And in that sense, you are creating continuity, even though it may not be with the same players. It's the same fundamentals. They're practicing it the same every time. And that way, when they get their opportunity, they're able to succeed.
Do you have to change much, though, when you know you're not going to have, let's say, for example, Nick McLeod on for every, core special teams play? Do you have to change what you do a whole lot?
I think you always have to be very mindful of, number one, the opponent you're playing. What are their strengths? What are your strengths? What are certain things that you're trying to navigate through? And then obviously, piecing together the personnel that, we use to be able to execute any scheme or any situation. To me, it's just necessarily making certain our guys understand what they're doing, and then whoever is out there is being able to just keep it as simple as possible for them.
How does that dynamic work when there's a player who has a role in offense or defense and you want them, and how do you just determine if you're going to get them or they're going to be safe for those two sides?
Yeah, there's balance for sure with that. We have a lot of discussions as a coaching staff. With Dave's, with Shane, with Calf, and we try and put together the best plan in terms of allocating certain responsibility and volume the right way.
Take us through the punt return. What are your teaching points off that?
Yeah, obviously, that's not the expectation when we hit the field. Our job is to make sure that we flip the field, that we tackle the ball well. When we pin the opponent inside the 20, it's on those situations where we're plus territory. So that is every time we take the field, that is what is expected. On that specific play, whenever you give something like that up, it's never just one guy. There's a combination of things, and I ultimately got to do a better job of coaching all those fundamentals the right way. To give you some points, we got to make sure that we're matching hanging distance to tie everything together. We got to make sure that we're spreading the net and having good spacing and distribution across the whole punt team. Credit to the Steelers and Calvin. Obviously a proven returner with real speed. That's something we've obviously learned, and we got to take it to practice and make sure we're executing the next time we're out there.
Do you have a problem with the punter getting knocked into there? Where do you kind of stand on that, and how do you look at that?
Honestly, and I know this might not be the answer that you guys are looking for, but my job is always to coach. Whatever the outcome of the play is, I'm coaching that specific play, whatever the way they call it.
To me, is there anything as a coach you can coach out of that, for your punter? Is there anything you could say to him there, or just? Yeah, no.
I think from a technique standpoint, whenever you're trying to increase, hang time, there's an element to what does your drop look like, what are your steps are. When you're trying to increase hang time, sometimes it's compacting your steps. The good thing about having, our specialists is they have kicked, punted, snapped in games, and they understand the tweaks necessary to be able to perform. So those are certain things that when we watch a tape, we definitely come back to and be like, okay, this is it. Or if we see the outcome, a lot of times these guys know right away, like, oh, this happened on this. It's like a good golfer. When they mishit a ball or mishit anything, they know exactly what happened. It's the same thing with specialist play. Like if they see something come off their foot a certain way, they know exactly the tweak and they get back to those fundamentals.
How much extra time are you guys spending or are you spending extra time this week? It seemed like we saw yesterday a period where special teams at the beginning, which maybe you hadn't done in the past.
No, I mean, it every week poses a new challenge. When you are trying to figure out your practice structure from a special team standpoint, the way I view it is you got to self-scout yourself and improve on the things that happened the last game, or maybe it's a trend that you've been seeing the past few games. So as you're designing what we're going to do in practice, there are certain things that happened in the past that you got to be able to fix, and then also be able to mix in, okay, we're playing this opponent. How are they going to see this? What are they going to try and attack us with? And still be able to implement those. So the practice structure to me is always evolving, depending on who you play and depending on what you put on the tape. We will always continue to work coverage fundamentals in that regard. We do every week, and we got to make certain that we execute ultimately when we get our opportunity.
What do you think Ihmir's done as the returner?
Again, Ihmir is, I've said it before, he's an energy giver. Guys really do appreciate his intent, the way he approaches the game. There's a calmness, there's a coolness to him. And I think that's ultimately what you want in a returner. A guy that when he takes the field, he feel like he has the ability to score every time. And, he has made good decisions. He's, for the most part, taking care of the football in terms of what we're asking him to do. And he's always learned from the situations that we're like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity to take it, or maybe this is an opportunity where we don't necessarily take advantage of a return here, knowing this. Because he tries to learn as much football as he can. He wants to understand what the blocking schemes are and where these things hit. And I was happy for him when he got an explosive return on kickoff return, something we certainly wanted to improve on. And, I thought a return game got going a lot because of him and Eric Gray in that regard. And then obviously the guys blocking for him.
As far as kickoffs go, are you guys pretty much set that you're going to just boom it through the end zone all the time?
No, I think every game is going to be unique in that sense. There may be a trend that might make it seem as though, but we always got to be ready to cover kicks, and especially you guys know in this region, we play in weathered games, and as the weather starts to change, even though I know we have a beautiful day today, we got to be ready to cover kicks in every regard in terms of that, even when the game plan may not seem as though, but there are certain situations, and like I said, every week is going to allow us to come together and figure out what is our best possible outcome in terms of positioning the defense well on kickoff.
Has it surprised you what a high percentage of kickoffs have been kicked in the end zone around the league, or did you kind of see this coming into the season?
You know what? The return rate is a lot higher than it was last year, so you could look at it in that sense too and be like, okay, the return rate is higher with this new rule, and I think that's ultimately that we're trying to get is a higher return rate, more covered kicks. Which those numbers are presented now. I guess the initial impression of were people willing to secede the 30-yard line, you didn't necessarily know how it affected the game until, obviously you're getting a feel now of the flow of it. So, I think people still have, when they're just trying to tie in the offense, defense, and special teams in terms of that specific play, they feel like they have still the opportunity to kick a touchback when needed. And then other opportunities to cover kicks. So,
Michael, on some of these bigger returns that break down, we always hear about lane integrity, guarding your lane. How much of it do you think is a result of guys maybe seeing another guy falling off or not doing his job, and then, instead of doing his job, he goes and does the other guy's job?
Are you talking in specific to the kickoff play?
No, I'm talking in general, some of the breakdowns that you've seen so far this year.
Yeah, I think there's a level to number one, understanding that you're not on the field by yourself. Okay, what is the base fundamental scheme asking you to do? Where is it asking you to fit? So what lane, in your point, where are they supposed to fit? But the nature of football is it's never going to be designed the exact way you have it on paper. You got to put these guys in situations to where if something happens, they got to be able to overcome and make somebody right. And that's where the balance in just understanding when this happens, I know I was supposed to be here, but now I got to do this. That's just the nature of football and really on any coverage element is being able to get good spacing regardless of where you're at and understand who you're working with to understand who you make right. So sometimes when you talk about the explosives, it might be a misunderstanding of what side you're on, what side you're not on, and who you're working with, or it could just be a perfect storm where a guy falls down and there is a seam there, So all things that we got to educate our players on. We show trends during the week with the plays of the week and just good coaching points in terms of teaching guys how to get good spacing and distribution.
I'm Peter Schrager, host of Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and the Season with Peter Schrager podcast. Whether you're ordering wings for the game or you're whipping up a 7-layer dip or you're ordering a pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizzas to buy one, get one wings to whatever it is you want, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats is the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply, and see the app for details.
This fall, watch all your live TV on Hulu Plus Live TV. Watch your favorite sports, local channels, news, and tons of must-watch shows. You'll also get access to Hulu's entire streaming library with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus included. As a special offer, you can get Hulu Plus Live TV now for just $59.99 per month for 3 months. Don't wait. Get Hulu Plus Live TV today. Ends 11/19/24. Hulu with ads plus live TV plan only. $59.99 per month for 3 months, then $82.99 per month, or then current regular monthly price. Access content from each service separately. Eligibility restrictions and terms apply.